I still seem to have my whole face cut off.
What?
You're like Humphrey the dog.
Humphrey the dog. Who's Humphrey the dog?
The dog that laughs without a...
Oh.
Yeah, without a noise. From like the Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
What's happening, everybody?
Hello.
I was just impressing Vicky, a.k.a. Victoria, a.k.a. Sour Cream Destroyer, a.k.a. my fiancé. Anyway, I was just entertaining her with my eyeball tricks. You're impressed, aren't you?
Yep. Don't look.
What?
This little banner cuts off my whole face because I'm short.
But that's a thumbnail. So it's not. If you look at the actual screen, your face is right here. Well, nobody sees this. Just you.
Okay.
Just you.
It's my eyeball.
What is up, everybody?
Hello, Jerry Pendleton. How you feeling, bud? I hope you're feeling better.
It is Wednesday. Here, let me go. I can change it over so the comments are going to be over here for you.
Thank you. So far.
Yeah. It's Wednesday, guys. That means it's Boss Up and List Day.
Woohoo!
What's Boss Up and List Day?
Boss, I feel like I say this every week, and I do.
Well, you literally do say it every week.
I do.
So maybe that's why you feel that way.
Boss Up and List Day is our all-day virtual listing party that we hold in the Boss Facebook group, which is the best Facebook group ever.
Of all time.
In the history of Facebook ever. The link to the Boss Facebook group is down below. If you're not in the group, you should be. We have a lot of fun in there, but we also help hold each other accountable, especially on Wednesdays, where we kind of talk with our virtual coworkers and talk about our goals for the day or for the week or what have you. And we check in around the water cooler or on the post on the Facebook page.
I know here at home, we do a lot of standing around the water cooler. We just kind of stare at each other.
Yep. No.
Yeah. Anyway, so we don't have any special topic for this week. We're just going with an ask me anything, ask us anything, reseller help desk, if you will. So if anybody has any questions, anything that they'd like to have,
any pressing issues,
yes, issues. Go ahead and ask, and we're just gonna chat it up, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, so it is today's the 11th. Today's 9/11.
It is.
I cannot believe it's been 18 years. That's kind of crazy.
Yep. Do you remember where you were?
Yes. I was actually asleep, and my roommate woke me up because I was on
West Coast.
I was on the West Coast. So my roommate woke me up. It was like 7 in the morning or something like that. So I was 22 years old. It was something like 7 in the morning. He woke me up. He knocked on my door. And
it happened at 8:45, so it was 5:45.
The first one hit. So it had already hit. Because otherwise he would have no reason to wake me up.
That's true.
So it had already hit the first one. I don't remember how much time there was in between the first and the second. Anyway, I don't remember exactly what time it was, but it was like 6 or 7. It was early in the morning, and he woke me up. And so I went out in the living room, and I watched the news like live. And so I was watching when the second one hit because the first one had already happened. And it was just great. But yeah, I completely remember. I remember being really scared because if you remember, when the first one hit, we didn't know what was happening. Nobody really knew what had happened.
It's true.
And then the second one, and we didn't know, because multiple places were hit, because the Pentagon, and then there was the other one that the crew or the people on the plane took down. We didn't know what was happening. So that was that uncertainty. So it was like getting like a little taste of like what, you see these other countries, like war-torn countries, where they have like conflict going on all the time. And that's just like their normal. And, at any time, like there's bombings and, some of the Middle Eastern countries, that stuff's happening. And I'm like, I don't know how you live like that, because I just remember like for a very short period of time, like not knowing what was happening, not knowing like is where I'm living going to be hit. Like it's like that uncertainty and it's not knowing what was happening was really scary.
Yeah. So I was driving into work. I was a mortgage broker, and I was driving into work, and I was on the phone with my best friend, Jason. We used to talk on the phone every morning on the way to work, pretty much, because he had a long commute, and I had a long commute, and we were both on the phone talking, and I was listening to Howard Stern, which was my go-to every morning. and heard it announced on the radio on Howard Stern. And and then I got into the office, and basically we all sat around. I did a lot of business with New York. I was living in Rhode Island still at the time, and a lot of my clients were in New York. And we used to, we kind of like gathered around the TV that my boss had in his office, because it wasn't even, he had it there to like watch baseball or something.
Yeah.
Like in the background, because we didn't have TVs. It was a small broker office. We didn't have like a huge break room or anything like that. So we gathered around in his office, and kind of everybody just sat there in shock and crying. And we sat there for a few hours, and he's finally like, we really can't do any business. You need to go home, because you can't call your customers. You don't know if they've been affected, and, go home.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was really weird.
It was.
And I flew out the day that they opened the airports. My friends and I had a huge trip to Disney World, Disneyland. Yeah, Disney World. And we had a huge trip planned, and we didn't have, travel insurance. And we were 20 something years old, 20. I don't even know how old I was 18 years ago. But anyway, we couldn't afford not to go. So I went on this plane that was a third full going to Disney. Yeah. And Disney was empty. You didn't have to wait on any rides, any lines to go on any rides.
And nobody was traveling.
Nobody was there. It was really, really weird. It was the eeriest thing. Imagine the happiest place on earth was not happy. We were going back to our hotel every day and just like watching CNN. It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I was actually reading, I read something this morning that, because almost 3,000 people died 9/11. And I was just reading that. I don't think it's happened yet, but soon the number of people dying as a result of the aftermath, like from complications, like health issues, is going to surpass the original number of people that died, because so many people have died from like cancer and like lung issues and different things. Yeah. It's really sad. So it's just kind of one of those things. It's 18 years later, and it's still, obviously it has an effect on the people who remember it happening and the people who had direct, people were directly affected by it, but it's also continuing to have physical effects on people almost 20 years later. It's just absolutely crazy. Anyway, so
couldn't exactly go by and have it be 9/11, have us do a live show and not acknowledge it in some way. So 18 years later, we definitely still remember.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, so today, Boss Up and List Day, we don't have a specific topic. So anybody that has any questions that having to do with being a reseller, any issues you're having, any problems you're having.
If you asked questions earlier in the
please ask again.
Chat, please ask it again, because as we were talking, it traveled through.
Yeah. So as far as goals go, so I was going to say, it's the 11th now. So we've got less than, about 20 days, a couple weeks, a little under 3 weeks before it's officially Q4, kind of, the first day, as if we're going to go by days, it's October 1st. I just hit, let's see, I had previously hit 2,200 listings on eBay and 1,200 on Etsy. Then I dropped below it during the summer, and now I'm back up there. So my goal, I really want to hit 2,400 on eBay and 1,400 on Etsy, which will be higher than I've ever been before. I don't remember where I was last year when I went into Q4. I don't think I hit 2,200 the first time until like the spring. I wish I would have written it down, but I think I was just around like 2,000. So I really want to go into this fourth quarter a little bit higher than I was last year. Plus last year, I definitely did not have even 1,000 listings on Etsy yet. I probably was maybe at like 700 or something like that. So it's going to be interesting going into this fourth quarter, because I'm going to be in a very different position than I was last year.
Yeah, I just got over 2,500 listings again on eBay, and I'm at about a little over 1,000 on Etsy. So I'm right about where I was last year. I keep trying to get up higher, and I will continue to try. There's a couple of questions we've had in here. I know Colleen really wants to know, when will managed payments align with GoDaddy? I have no idea, sweetheart.
No clue.
I'm not in managed payments, and that's a question to ask the people at GoDaddy for sure.
Yeah,
since that's an entirely different company than eBay.
Yeah. And then Bridget says, when will you switch to managed payments? What are the pros and cons in your opinion? And I think somebody else asked about it too. Oh yeah, Stephanie. said, "Are you in managed
because
payments yet? Do you like it? If so."
It's because they're sending out an awful lot of emails this week telling people that to take action and to get into the program. Neither one of us are in managed payments, although we have talked about it many times on the show. I will say there is 2 reasons why I'm not in managed payments yet. Neither one of us are, but I expect that I will probably jump on in the spring. Here's my first reason is that I do have a PayPal business loan that I'm paying back right now, and it makes it a little bit more complicated to make your monthly payments when you are in managed payments, because the money is no longer just coming off the top of every sale. And I find that very easy. My loan will be done in the spring at some point, maybe sooner, depending on how solid my Q4 is. Second, because when you're in managed payments, most people that have been in managed payments have seen a significant drop in their international sales because your listings are not being shown on international sites in the way that they are now, because international buyers can still not use PayPal is not available through the managed payment options for your international sellers. So they're not, there's something that they're not seeing. There's some kind of disconnect, unless they can use other forms of payment, but the ones that are signed up just to use PayPal, it's not translating right.
Yeah.
So that hasn't rolled out entirely yet. It will at the end of the program. Everything's going to be fine. But right now they're rolling things out in stages. And one of the stages is that, if you have a huge or a significant portion of your sales as international, then you will see a drop in your international sales. And I'm not willing to give up that portion of my income.
Well, I actually got called because it was weird because I'm like, why? They called me to tell me that, not to tell me I needed to switch over, but to tell me that I didn't need to yet, which I'm like, why are you bothering calling people to tell them not to switch over yet? Anyway, and so the woman that I talked to basically said, I'm looking at your account. I see that, you do a significant amount of international sales. So, and we're not quite there yet, being fully able to deal with those. I don't really understand all of it, but basically she was just like, so you don't have to worry about it yet. And so I'm going to wait until basically the last possible second, or if they say, yes, it's all going to be fine after that. Cause I do want to have access to like Apple Pay and all that other stuff. So Corey, my favorite, Corey, 111815 says, any advice, thoughts on Etsy ads / promoted listings? What do you guys budget per day? So let's talk about Etsy. Etsy has a few different things that you can do, and they just recently switched over the way they're doing advertising. And so it used to be that you paid per click, you budgeted an amount for the day, but you also got to say how much you wanted to spend per click. They've recently switched that. You don't have any access to customizing your per click cost. Now all you can do is budget for the day. So I have mine budgeted to $10 a day. I do find that advertising does work for me on Etsy. It tells me, just like on eBay, it tells you there's like a little trumpet thing next to each sale that you get that's due to advertising. And I get a lot of those. So it definitely works for me, but I have played around with like budgeting and stuff like that. Right now I'm at $10 a day. I did play around. I tried Google ads for a little while because you can do Google ads through Etsy. It's a similar thing where you set up a budget and stuff. But I found after doing it for almost a month, I was paying out a lot and not getting hardly anything in return. So it really just didn't feel like I was getting any value for the money I was spending. So I'm not doing that anymore. I also saw that they now have, you can set up Facebook ads as well. I haven't bothered doing anything with that. So I find that just the regular advertising, setting a budget for clicks, it does work for me, but you want to play around with it. You want to try it out, try $5 a day or something like that. Just, I don't know. So how about promoted listings?
I do $5 a day.
Oh, for Etsy? But what about, because he's also asking about promoted listings. Well, I guess that's just for Etsy, but somebody else was asking, sorry. Lar wants to know, do you both use promoted listing on every listing or on only selected items?
I use promoted listing on every listing.
Me too.
Yeah. And right now, actually, for the past 6 months or so, maybe even a little bit longer, I've been using trending rates for promoted listings.
That's what I do as well. Oh, and speaking of promoted listings, guys, I know we said we would talk about some of that stuff today on today's show as far as the new update. However, they are doing another show today on
eBay
for
for
Business Facebook page. It's
Mhm.
going to be at 12:30, so a little bit after the show, and they're going to be going over more in depth specifically about the promoted listings changes. So,
and there have been a lot of changes and there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah, so we're going to watch that show. I would encourage you to watch that show as well if you are still not completely sure about it. Let's watch it today and see what we think. So, what are you writing down there? What? She's writing a note to me. Anyway, so yeah. Let's see.
Let's see what other questions we have here. Bridget asked, do you know when we will have to switch? I'm assuming you mean to managed payments. Everyone has to be switched over sometime in 2021. So I don't know any better than you do. There is a scheduled rollout that there is a certain percentage that needs to be done every quarter. And nobody has been forced to change over as of yet, but at some point everyone will be.
Yep.
And it's not all going to be in one day. So there's going to be some stages, and there will at some point you're going to need to be switched over.
Yeah, and Enrique says I made the jump and seems like it's slowed down my sales. I've been picking up slowly, but not how it was before managed payments. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see changes. I've heard both sides. I've heard people say they saw huge increases. I've heard people say it slowed their sales down. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but I've still...
Lots of people have seen many increases. I'm super excited about managed payments and at the end result. Having all these different ways to pay just is like every other website in the world except eBay. So I'm perfectly happy with the direction it's going in. I don't think it's there yet for my business. That doesn't mean that it's not there for yours. If you use GSP, you don't qualify. So don't even worry about it. If you do your own international shipping, and you have a significant number of international sales, then it's probably not for you. If you have an odd number here or there, a handful here or there of international sales, then go ahead and do it. There's no reason not to, because at the very best case scenario, it's going to give you a huge boost in sales, and very worst case scenario, it's not going to affect what you're doing already. So
yeah, for sure. Well, there it is. Sorry. When we look at our software thing, it doesn't show the super chats, but Corey gave a $4.99 super chat. He says, thank you. Always appreciate all your knowledge and advice. And then there's a little smiley face.
Corey with the cutest baby ever.
Cutest baby ever. I got a little super chat song for you.
All right.
You ready for it? Super chat. Super chat. You like that? You don't like my Boy George version?
The Boy George version?
How dare you?
Karma.
I was like, man, I hope I get a super chat today, because I was like, I had it in my head that I wanted to do my Boy George super chat. So thanks, Corey. Appreciate it.
Little culture club for you. Weirdo.
You're a weirdo. Anyway.
So Noelle's in there, Farm Girl Scavenger. We're going to get a chance to see her in another couple of weeks. We are headed... We're going to have a couple of days where we're not going to have a show, because we're going to be headed to California at the very end of this month to go to my the yearly burn conference that I go to in We now. Yes. Well, I've always gone, and you are now starting to go with me again. Yes. So
it's my third year.
It will be.
I think we can now say it's the burn conference we go to.
So we'll be going. I think we leave the 30th. And it happens to be in Anaheim. So it's right next door to Disney. So we were definitely going to go to, I think, California Adventure or Disney.
I was like, man, Disney, I want to go to California Adventures. I want to go on all the rides.
Yeah, we might go the day that we're supposed to come home. So
yeah.
We'll be there for a week.
Yep. And Noelle will be there with us. It's going to be awesome. Awesome. Anyway,
we've got Trisha says, just popped in. Looking forward to seeing you in Arizona at the Meetup with Teresa on the 19th. Looking forward to seeing you as well. We are going to be at the Phoenix area Meetup in Arizona 2 weeks from yesterday. No, 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's a Thursday. Sorry. Thursday the 18th is when we're going to be. That's on my calendar. Sorry.
Basically it's next Thursday.
Is it next Thursday? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thursday, the 18th, 19th, whatever. Anyway.
If you're not already in the group, get in touch with Teresa.
We're going to see Adrian. Adrian's going to give you a big hug. And I talked her into giving me a hug.
All right. I know. She's going to owe us some because it's been a while.
The 19th. Thanks, Barb. Anyway. So we're excited. Looking forward to seeing you guys in Arizona.
Oh, and Jess was going to be there. Woohoo! Woohoo!
We're pretty excited about it. We'll be we decided to do another few day thrifting-palooza with
we did good
with
last
Teresa.
time.
We did, and we're going to do it again.
I'm going to go to Buffalo Exchange. You bet you can't wait.
I'm sorry. What now? It's like 5 hours away from where Teresa lives. Didn't we have this discussion?
No, it's not.
Time?
No, there's a regular Buffalo Exchange in Phoenix.
Oh,
there's one that's like 2 hours south. That's their outlet, but no, we don't need to go to that one.
All right. Just
anyway,
checking.
did you see how scared she got, you guys? But there's 7. So here in Vegas, there's 6 different Savers locations. In the Phoenix area, there's 7. And it takes a lot longer because stuff's spread out a lot further. So like in Vegas, you're pretty much never more than a half an hour away from anywhere in Vegas. You know, if you go from one side to the other, about a half an hour. In Phoenix, an hour. It can take an hour to get from one side to the other. It's nuts. But there's 7 different locations, plus there's a Buffalo Exchange. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I liked meeting everybody at the last meetup. I'm hoping there will be some faces we'll recognize. I think there are from the RSVP list. If you live in that area, it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they have their meetup at a private seller's home. So you definitely it's not at a restaurant. So you do need to join the group to figure out where it is and get information on that.
Well, Noelle wants to give Vicky a shout out. This is a shout out from Noelle to you. She wants everybody to know how hard Vicky worked her butt off to get basically this Burn conference. Vicky worked with someone else to help get Noelle sponsored. So Noelle can travel from up in Washington, where she lives, down to California and come to this conference. And you also donated some as well. And so Noelle just wanted to acknowledge that you.
Well, I'm just glad that you're going. You belong there. You should be good there. And when I met you a year ago, I told you I was going to make it happen. So
yeah. So I'm really excited, Noelle. I'm excited that we get to hang out. That I'm going to get to see you soon. I think it's going to be probably a pretty crazy week for you, especially. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And get a little reseller family / burn family love going on. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's good for you. It's going to be good for you. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So let's see. California Adventure. Have I been there before? I've been in Florida. Well, not California Adventure. I've been to the one that's similar in Florida. I've never been to the one here in California. And Katie's never been. She's never been to Disney on either coast. So we are going to do a little bit of downtown Disney, I'm sure, one of the nights. And we're going to go to Trader Sam's and have a little tiki cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
So,
indeed.
Let's see. Somebody asked.
Yeah, so Emily says, after we move to New Mexico, I may have to take some pilgrimages to Arizona for that group. I can find no meetup in New Mexico. I don't know, Emily, maybe you should start one once you're there.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how far from, I don't know how far of a drive it'll be for you to go to Arizona. But like I was just saying, there's tons and tons and tons of thrifting in the Phoenix area. If we didn't live here in Vegas, Phoenix would be another potential possibility of place to live, just from the thrifting standpoint, because there seriously are so many thrift stores there. Mm-hmm. It's just really cool, and just in Arizona in general. So
let's see. There was a question there. Do we have all of our shipping? Is our shipping free on Etsy? Yeah, both of us have.
Yeah.
I have some heavy items that I have shipping on, but I think maybe 15 or 20 out of 1,000.
The thing is, Etsy earlier this year, they really started pushing, actually during the holidays, they really started pushing for free shipping. And during the holidays, they were doing this thing where if you offer free shipping, I think they were giving you free, it was free, those ads that they would send emails to people who were watching your items to get, but you know what I'm talking about, how you can pay. Well, okay, but you know how there's a thing you can choose where you can pay 10 cents an email to send.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So over the holidays, they were doing those for free if you had free shipping set up. Well, they just recently, in the last couple of months, they've switched it over to where basically they were very explicit and said people who offer free shipping or free shipping above $35 purchases are getting priority in the search results. And so to me, especially when you're talking about Etsy, where generally Etsy, most of us are working on wider margins. It doesn't make any sense to me to charge shipping when you know it's going to affect you and your placement in the search results. Now, there's a lot of other factors that are going to contribute to where you show up in the search results. But if you know that that affects it, why not just build your shipping costs into the price of the item? It makes there's zero reason to charge for shipping in that scenario. Especially it's like you buy a shirt for $5 and you're selling it for $50. Why not just sell it, for $55? Free shipping, you know what I mean? Whatever. It's like, it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer. Just saying.
Okay. Owl and Opal is asked a question about all of my listings set for worldwide. I'm getting no international sales. I feel there's something going on with my shipping. Showing is too expensive, maybe. Well, international is all about your weight. So
yeah.
Very rarely are you going to exceed measurements unless you have an enormous piece that weighs a ton for something that goes international. Yeah. So I don't think that's the case.
How are you charging? Because if you have your shipping set up for
calculated,
if it's under 4 pounds, I mean, it just depends. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you without being able to see your listings. And
yeah, do you need to enter dimensions for shipping to appear correct on international sales? No, you don't.
Just the weight.
Just your weight. You should have your dimensions entered in for everything. Though, honestly.
Particularly if you sell anything that's bigger sizes. Yeah, Barbara says that's my project for next week, switching Etsy to free shipping. Yeah, you really want to get it.
You know what Etsy does right now? They have a way they're going to take your shipping cost and add it onto your price for you to add it in. Yeah, because that's what I did a couple months ago because I was charging shipping in some stuff. So
yeah, so Alan Opal says calculated. Yes, is most of your stuff under 4 pounds? Because it's really not that crazy expensive. I mean, it really depends. I don't know what kind of stuff you sell. I don't know. I mean, some stuff is more successful within the international market than others. If you're just selling, let's say you're just selling basic bread and butter. Let's say you're selling clothing and it's just your basic bread and butter labels. I would assume that stuff isn't necessarily going to be as desirable to an international market just because does somebody really want to spend the extra on shipping and everything to get something that's super basic? Or like in as far as like the stuff I sell goes, I'm selling, vintage streetwear, stuff that's super, super popular right now and really is hard to find in international marketplaces. And so they are buying that a lot from people like me, from sellers like me. So it really depends on what you're selling, I guess. For international, do you have to set it up for your postings to show up on other international eBay sites? No. As long as you make your stuff available worldwide when you set up your shipping, it'll show up on their sites as do you ever search for stuff on your own? When you're looking to buy something on eBay or you're looking at comps, it'll show like the US results and then it'll say other offerings or whatever from international. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
So
at the bottom of your listings. Usually.
Yeah. So if you already have yours set up to ship worldwide, that's kind of probably how it shows up on their sites. There is like a thing you can check where you can pay to have your stuff show up on the other sites. You don't have to do that. You don't need to do it. So anyway,
let's see.
I mean, so Alan Opal, says I may need better items, more hard goods, I suppose. I mean, I don't sell any hard goods. I just sell clothing, but like I said, I sell vintage streetwear, which is very, very popular right now, international markets. So that does really well, but you sell quite a few hard goods internationally.
I do, not a ton. I do, like mostly clothing and shoes are what I sell international, but yes, I do sell some other items. Yeah, for sure.
So Liz Forday says, have you noticed that you can't respond to offers on the desktop, but you can on mobile? So
yes, you posted a workaround for that.
Yeah, yesterday. It's actually, it's you can, it's just, you can't really tell like what's going on here. Let me look, see if I can find it real quick and I can show, or actually, I guess, no, whatever. You answer a question and I'll see if I can find that. Well, because I want to show it because it's confusing a lot of people.
All right. So Jinx asked, with free shipping on Etsy, and is eBay and Etsy taking a cut of that as part of the sale? Well, eBay is, And I believe not with, well, I guess Etsy is as well. eBay always has. Well, not always. They have for several years now. So when you sell something on eBay, your price that you sell the item for and the amount that you're paying your final value fees on is your sale price plus the shipping. So whether you're offering free shipping or not, it's being counted as part of what you're paying your final value fee on. And the reason for that is several years ago, people used to sell things for 99 cents and then $200 shipping to avoid paying fees. And so that's why we can't have nice things, because people are jerks. So they changed it. And the good thing about that is that if you offer free shipping as one of your options on items domestically, when you sell something internationally, you are not paying a final value fee on your international shipping fee. You're only paying it on the item, on the sale of the item. So, good, bad, or indifferent, that's kind of a bonus. As far as Etsy goes, I believe it's just you're paying on the total well. So I think it works the same both ways.
Yeah. All right. Let me show this real quick. Okay, guys, let me share the screen here, and I'm going to show you what the deal is. Now, I hope this gets fixed because it just doesn't make any sense the way they're doing this. Okay, so you get your little notification. Here, you can see this right here. It's on the screen. Yeah. You get your little notification. Let me make this full screen. And basically it says, you get it up in the corner and it says you have an offer. You click on it and this is where it goes. And you're like, where do I click? There's nowhere to click. And it doesn't make any sense. And it's really weird. Well, you actually click right here. It doesn't look like it's clickable, but you click on this box. This is where you have your offer shows up. So you click right there. And when you click right there, then it takes you to this page, which before, when you clicked on your notification, it took you straight to this page. Now you have to go here.
Go back to that again.
Click here.
You know what I noticed today, which is kind of nice? Look all the way to the right where it says active on the site. You've had that on the site for 430 days.
Well, it's a women's jacket.
I know, which means it's really old, which means you also haven't ended and sold similar or anything like that, because it's active on the site for 430 days. First of all, that means nobody's seeing that sucker, so you might as well take that offer. But that's something nice that they have that you didn't have before. So you can see how long something has been on the site, so how old the listing is. And that, for me, will give me a little bit, I don't know if it's staying this way or not, but that will give one of the,
basically I'm not listing women's stuff anymore, so I don't really care that much, but eventually it'll get pulled. But anyway, so yeah, you have to click. So again, it's down here, this thing that doesn't look clickable. You click on it and it'll take you to this page, or you can just go on your phone. But yeah, it's obnoxious. There's no reason for it. So hope that helps. All right.
And G. Jasso says, you can send offers now to potential buyers that have your items in their carts. You can. It's part of offers to watchers, offers to buyers. Unfortunately, you can't tell who is who.
Yeah, it's just how
it's just all combined. It has watchers and people that have your item in the cart. So it's kind of cool.
Teresa, that was a best offer. I was just showing, people were asking about not being able to respond to a best offer on the desktop. And I was just showing that you actually can. It's just all hidden and weird now for pretty much no apparent reason. So, Liz for a day. So Liz says, thanks for the clarification. Customer service person I talked to didn't even know. Because here's the thing. I don't think it was a deliberate thing. I don't think they were like, oh, let's make this more complicated to get to an offer. I really think it probably has something to do with some sort of programming, something, departments not speaking to each other, whatever, because there really is no, there's no practical logistical reason to go through that extra page. So I just think it's just a weird programming thing. So customer service people wouldn't even know that it's an issue other than people calling and freaking out. Teresa wants to know if I submitted a note via feedback link on that page. No, I didn't. So I did not, Teresa. You can't make me. I know I should, but you can't make me. Anyway. All right. See, one which lady said that happened to best offer at the beginning of the year too, and they did some update to something and it took them a month or so to fix it. Yeah, seriously, it really is probably they updated something else and that's what it affected, and then it just is obnoxious and annoying for the rest of us. But yeah, let's see. So Kara wants to know, Kara Cooper, do you think eBay will ever change it to let us know the zip codes for offers to watchers/buyers? I mean, Probably not, because that would be a little bit more complicated, and they're really trying to keep the privacy of those people. So probably not. I would say my bigger issue is when I'm accepting. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it is an issue. It is an issue because it does make a difference in how much you're willing to make that offer for. I don't know, guys.
It would make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gijasso says Macari is going to start charging tax on the platform.
I got that notice yesterday.
Yeah. So much for claiming they did not cater to businesses. Yeah, but there's also like a lot of pressure when it comes to
state tax law.
When it comes to the tax laws and stuff like that, they can't really do a whole lot.
I think they tried to stay away from it as long as they could. And
yeah.
Let me see.
Better they do it. So
Trisha asked, what are your daily listing routines generally? So I guess I can start with that. So basically, we're early risers. So we get up early, enjoy a cup of coffee, and then I do all of my shipping. I pull all of my items to ship and do all of my shipping first. Once the shipping is done, then I sit down to do listing, and we work and list until, except for the days that we source, we'll both list and work until about 7:00 at night. So
yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Yep. Yeah. Generally I try to list every day if I can.
Minimum 5 days a week, generally 6 to 7 days a week.
Saturday's my photography day generally. So I'll take all my pictures and my measurements and weights on Saturdays. And then Sunday I'll get listing done. Monday I'll get listing done. But yeah, it's like on the days that we ship first thing in the morning, and then I get into my listing. And so it's like every day pretty much I list. And then Thursday is usually my sourcing day. But I'll still try to do a couple of listings, and then Friday I'll do some listing and then prep my stuff for Saturday pictures. And then it's all a crazy cycle after that. Mm-hmm. Just keeps going and going and going. So
coffee, how do we take our coffee? Both of us cream and sugar.
Yeah,
pretty much.
We use the flavored creamer, I like the Italian sweet cream, which luckily we both like the Italian mm-hmm. sweet cream, so we can just buy the same kind. But yeah.
I don't think having taxes is charged as why your sales have slowed down, Owl and Opal, because that's something that every other website has been doing for years, is charging taxes in almost every state.
Whoa.
First of all,
you're in Washington. That does not mean that that buyers are being charged tax on you. The only people are being charged taxes if they're from a state that has a sales tax.
Could you stop interrupting me today?
Yes, I apologize. I
didn't even get that sentence out of my face.
Continue.
So never mind. You did it.
Okay.
So Enrique says I use one bean for my coffee. Yes, I like weak ass coffee, as Katie calls it, for sure.
She likes it weak ass over sugary.
No, I don't like over sugary.
Sweeter than me, for sure.
Yeah.
I put more creamer in yours.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, Jameson's Closet, you say, what's your best tip for being prepared for Q4? I mean, we did a whole show a few weeks ago on that. What's your best tip?
Being prepared for Q4, making sure that you have every type of shipping product available that you may need. Don't let yourself run out of appropriate sized boxes, bubble wrap, packing peanuts, packing tape, whatever you are, poly mailers, bubble mailers, whatever it is that you use, make sure you order double.
Would you say you had all the boxes you needed today?
I have not today. I didn't. Today I had 3 oddly shaped items where I was cursing and frankenboxing things. Yeah.
You had 3 different things where she had the box all ready to go, and then she was like, all right, she puts it in, and it's
off by
sticking out like this. And then the next thing she's like, all right, she puts it in, the box is like bulging. It's like every single time. You were having a rough day.
I was having a frustrated morning with box sizing for sure.
Yeah, pretty much. Lori Corey says, I found one of those blankets you always talk about yesterday at the bins. My problem is a tiny bit of pilling. Have you cleaned one before?
It's actually one of the only things I wash is the blankets that I buy, unless you're talking Pendleton. Pendleton can't be washed. They have to be dry cleaned or hand washed because they're heavy wool, and you have to be real careful hand washing them. If you mean like a beater lacquer or San Marcos, they're one of the only things that I wash when I find them. I just wash them in the washing machine and throw them in the dryer. Some people will take the sweater shaver to them to reduce the pilling. I don't bother. Depends on how bad it is, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yep. Noelle says, holy moly, Katie, I got a vintage satin Tonkin brand satin jacket with a huge Peterbilt embroidered truck on the back. That is awesome. That's I really like those a lot when they have the truck on the back embroidered.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. Get organized. That's a good one. Just get organized. But also, I would say one other thing about fourth quarter is, you want to get as much stuff listed as possible before the quarter starts. But you also, I guess, another one would be like kind of be mindful of like balancing your time, because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on during the holidays, but you still want to keep that activity going in your store. Maybe you're not going to be listing as hard as you normally would because of so much stuff going on, but try and at least still do like the 2 or 2, listing at least a couple of things every day as you can, just to keep everything active in your store.
Because a lot of times you're going to get bogged down with shipping because you're going to be selling a lot. Mm-hmm. So shipping does take a lot longer. For sure. And that's the only time of the year is Q4 is the time of the year that I actually ship 6 days a week usually, because there's so much if I'm not. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to the tax thing again. Buyers pay taxes if their state demands that they pay taxes.
They're paying tax on the item. If there is a state requirement, they're paying their state tax. You pay tax on the item where you take physical possession of the item. So if I buy something from you, I'm paying Nevada tax. If Nevada were being collected, it's not yet on eBay, but if I were buying from you, I would be paying Nevada tax on the item that I purchased. If I'm buying from someone that collects that lives in Nevada, I'm paying tax.
Yeah. So if somebody from Washington buys from you, they're going to pay the Washington tax. If they're from any of the states that eBay is automatically taking taxes for, which is like what I don't know what all the states are.
There's a bunch of them.
Let's say there's 15 different states that eBay is taking taxes for. If your buyer lives in any of those states, then they're collecting those taxes. But if somebody from Oregon, where they don't have sales tax, if somebody from Oregon buys from you in Washington, they're not getting a tax. There's no tax. So yeah, you don't have to worry about it. You're in Washington, eBay's collecting those taxes. It's not affecting your sales like that.
Yeah, and Trisha asked, will you be doing sales for fourth quarter or just best offer? I do both all the time. Promoted listings, some type of sale, and best offer, all three at all times.
Trifecta.
Yeah. Do you raise your prices for Q4? No, I personally don't, but I always have a huge margin in my on all of my items. So I'm always running anywhere from a 15 to a 30% off sale in my entire store. I always have best offer, and I'm doing promoted listings. So yeah.
Well, and that's like, we'll hear about people like waiting to list Christmas items till Christmas time so they can charge a premium. And I'm like, why not just charge the premium now? Like maybe you won't sell as many of them, but I think both of us work under the same philosophy. We list things year round and we price them at the same prices we want to price them at. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. We don't give you a discount because it's summertime.
Someone at Pop Rocket, what is California's sales tax? I don't know. You'd have to ask. There are several different taxes depending on the county within that state. So I don't live in California, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. But there are charts. There are charts online.
It's like close to 9%, I think.
It's 8 and change.
Yeah. So, but yes, you get a lot of sales from California. Yeah, probably do the tax because eBay is not collecting those taxes yet for sellers, which means that if you aren't in California, you're not charging them California sales tax. So yeah, probably a lot of people from California buy stuff on eBay from sellers where they don't have to pay that sales tax because they don't have to. Now in the next year or so, I think California is going to get added to as one of the states that eBay automatically charges sales tax, and then they're not going to be able to escape it.
Everyone's going to be there eventually, so it is what it is.
And you also have to remember that California is one of the biggest population centers of the country. Yeah.
Sandra says, I think California starts October 1st.
Yeah. So we might actually see a drop in some of our California sales. You never know, because there won't be that benefit anymore. But yeah, like I said, though, I don't know. Is California the most populated state?
California or Texas or New York, one of those. Yeah. Armando, we answered both of those questions earlier on in the show.
Yeah.
Let's just see. Are there any other questions right there? Yeah. So Noelle, you're correct. So she said she purchased Some boxes from the beginning of my estate sale, found 2 vintage African-American nativity sets. Yes, that's the correct terminology. You're going to put African-American, or you also can put Black Americana. Those are two types of terms that are widely searched and acceptable and politically correct. And non-offensive, and those are the terms that you would use to search any type of African-American memorabilia. And African-American nativity sets sell very well. I think I showed one that I sold last week because there are so few of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an underrepresented market.
Yeah.
So they do sell very well.
Enrique says, would you say there's a minimum amount of items we should list? Would it be best to list all at the same time or here and there? And do you think there's a best time, day or night? I don't think that there's any reason to worry about that. What's most important is what time of the day works for you. Maybe you're a morning person. Maybe you are somebody who works best in the middle of the night. So really it's more about what works for you. I will say what's most important is consistency. If you make it a habit, and this is why we say list every day, if you make it a habit to list daily or as much as possible, then you're going to get into that habit and you're going to always be consistently listing, and that's going to bring consistent activity to your store. So that's what's most important. So I think even if it's only 2 a day, if really all you could ever do is 2 a day, that's better than nothing. And I think 2 a day is better than 14 all in one day once a week, in my opinion. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gorgeous, you asked a couple of times, when's eBay going to make a simpler way to switch from one account to another? Your guess is as good as mine. I actually have 2 accounts, but my second account has been dormant for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't list very much on it, but it is difficult to switch between the 2. You have to log all the way out, open up another screen, log all the way in, and oftentimes it'll freeze and tell you, like it seems to think you're in both accounts at the same time, which you can't really be, and it's not cool. So I've only had that issue a few times because I have nothing listed in the other store right now. So I understand.
Yeah. Run Hill Vintage, California has as many people as Canada, over 30 million, which is pretty nice for us living next to California, because that means we ship a lot right next door. Of course, then we also get a lot from like New York and the East Coast, and that's a pain.
Yeah. So Lady Luck Junk is another good Q4 tip. Danica, been doing physical inventory to prep for Q4, found 13 items, no longer listed so far. So physical inventory is a great thing to do if you have the ability to do it. I personally haven't done one in years. I know I need to do it, but the way that my stuff is set up, it would take me far too long and take me away from my business for far too long. So I just don't do it.
Yeah.
But you're very often going to find things that are no longer listed. There is this black hole on eBay, and it has been happening for as long as the site has existed, that every once in a while your listings just fall off. Not necessarily in great quantity. You may have one there. It happens. You're going to find things that you go, what the heck? Why isn't this listed anymore? You haven't sold it. You didn't end the listing. It's just gone. It happens.
It happens. Oh, Pop Rocket. Good. That's definitely... So Pop Rocket says open one on Chrome and one on another server. It seems to be easier to go between stores. Yeah, I've actually done that before, not with eBay, but with other things where I need to have 2 accounts open. If you use Chrome, you can actually just open an incognito Chrome window. And then that way you can log into, like sometimes I'll use the incognito version because I want to like log into, or I want to go look at a listing on eBay, but not be logged in. And I want to like change to like my location being another country. And I don't have to worry about like making sure I fix it after I'm done messing around with it. So,
DJ says the same thing, incognito private one. So yeah. And yes, are you loving List Perfectly for cross listing? I am absolutely loving it. I have been using it now for about 3 weeks, I think. And I have cross-posted hundreds of items. I'm still using it daily to cross-post. So I'm listing, my 20 to 30 items a day, and I'm cross-posting them to 2 to 3 other sites, depending on what is applicable. Not everything goes to Etsy, and not everything goes to Macari. So I'm listing right now to Etsy and Macari. What I like about it is Macari has been a third platform for me that I have had zero effort to do other than cross-posting. First of all, it's the simplest platform. a 4-year-old could list on there. And I've had 6 sales on Macari so far for over $200. So there you go. I've been doing it for just a few weeks. It's more than paid for 2 months of my subscription. I love it. It's super easy. It's super fast. And yes, there have been some growing pains. They're trying to catch up with it. I mean, they have a list of 5,000 people still trying to get into the program right now. So they are making sure to limit the people getting into the program as slowly as possible to make sure that their servers and their customer service can handle all the people they're bringing on, so everyone gets top-notch service. So I think they're doing wonderfully. I think they never were in a million years prepared for it to explode the way it has. And I'm super excited for the ladies and Teresa working hard to try and make this happen. Yep. I love the program. I absolutely love it.
Enrique wants to know if you're drafting directly from List Perfectly or eBay and then over.
It depends on what the item is. So I have started creating, I have the pro version on List Perfectly. So I have started creating my own templates there for clothing. So if it's a clothing item, I am trying to begin my listing on List Perfectly. And depending on what the item is. So if it's something that I know I'm only sending to Etsy, I'm much faster at eBay, so I will create it on eBay and then cross it to Etsy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes if it's only going to one other platform, it's easier for me to do it on eBay because everything goes on eBay for me. Let's put it that way. So if it's only going to one platform, it's easier for me to do it on eBay. If it's going to multiple platforms, then it's easier to do it on List Perfectly because that way I'm not creating the listing twice.
We know List Perfectly is one of our sponsors, so what a nice little segue into it, because check it out. So Sandra says, I've made over $100 on Macari using List Perfectly. It's so easy. Mm-hmm. And then Emily says that List Perfectly is so friggin' awesome. I swear it's like adding a part-time person.
It really is. Pretty cool. It really is. It is like, and poor Dana, because I actually have added hours to Dana doing other things for me, because having List Perfectly cross-post everything, or me doing it via List Perfectly has eliminated me paying her to cross-post. So now I'm having her take more photos or list in general for me. And that's actually my money working better for me and my assistant working better for me, as opposed to cross-posting, which was, something that was necessary, but it's much easier for me to do it myself now. So
now I still have not jumped into List Perfectly yet. I probably will eventually for Macari. But I will say, just to talk about cross-posting in general, whether you're doing it yourself by hand or you're using a program like List Perfectly. Last summer when eBay was having, summer of 2018, when eBay was having issues on the site and lots of glitches and it was really affecting our sales, that's when, some of you guys know, that's when I decided that I was going to jump fully into Etsy and commit more time to Etsy. And ever since last summer, every day when I'm listing, I'm not listing on eBay and then maybe I list to Etsy. I list on both. I am fully committed to both platforms. And so I've been doing that now for over a year. And like I said earlier, I'm over 1,200 listings on Etsy. And I'm going to, 2019, I will end the year with well over $20,000 gross just on Etsy. So eBay's still my main source of income, but having like an additional $20,000 just because I do some cross-posting, and it really doesn't add that much time for me, it's a big deal. And so being able to use a program like List Perfectly and not only cross-posting on one other platform, but 2 other platforms or 3 other platforms, because some people are doing the Macari, Poshmark, and Etsy.
And eBay,
on top of eBay. I mean, that's...
So adding Etsy for me is going to be an extra... I've already made $13,000 year to date on Etsy, and I expect I'll do another $5,000, if not more, before the end of the year. So there you go. That's an extra $18,000 that I was not making this year, just by adding a second platform. If I can get to about $500 a month on Macari, even $500 a month, that's an extra $6,000 right there. So that's $25,000 a year.
Yeah, for sure. Lady Left Junk.
The referral code is below, listed below.
Yeah, click the link down below. It says where it says the
referral code.
Yeah, it gives our number. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. But yeah.
So let me see here. We've got a couple more questions. Oh, so Mary did say there is a new thing. I did get the email on that as well. Macari may be charging a fee if you cancel an item. It's not when you end an item, it's if you cancel. So if you cancel a sale that someone has purchased from you, then you may be charged a fee for canceling the sale. Then that just gives you, you need to very much stay on top of items that you have cross-posted and make sure that you don't need to cancel any sales.
Yeah, interesting.
So let's see. Do you have death piles? No, neither one of us have death piles, Trisha.
No, we keep our stuff. We get our stuff listed. Like yesterday, I just got 2 giant boxes. I did a bulk buy from somebody actually in the boss group, and I'll be talking about that more on Sunday's show. 91 pounds, 2 giant boxes, 91 pounds, like almost 40 jackets, a bunch of t-shirts, all vintage streetwear stuff. And I already this morning took pictures. I mean, usually I do my pictures on Saturday, but because of how my workload has kind of ended up this week, I'm like, I'm going to take pictures really quick this morning before Dana comes. So I'm going to be able to list all the t-shirts. And then I will get the rest. I will make sure to get all the rest photographed on Friday and Saturday. I'm also going to, do a little bit of sourcing tomorrow. So it's, I try to, when I buy it, I want it listed in the next week or so. Like I want it working for me.
It takes me a maximum of 2 weeks, depending on how much I have. So I definitely have some items that are about 2 weeks old, but I really don't consider that a death pile. That's inventory.
Yep. And the reality is, you pay up a little bit for your stuff, but I pay up quite a bit for some of the stuff that I buy, even more than Vicky is willing to. And and we buy stuff that we expect to get higher price points for, and it does us no good to have them sitting around. So it's like when we buy it, it needs to be working for us immediately, as soon as possible. And that's a lot of, that has a lot to do with our success as resellers. It really comes down to, you got to have it listed. You got to list it. You got to have it working for you.
Got to work.
Or else it's just sitting there and it's not making you any money.
So no, we do not use Poshmark. Neither one of us use Poshmark. Still.
Yeah.
I added Macari.
My dusty hat.
Black Butler. I don't know what that is.
It's just like a
anime thing.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to wrap up today's show. We got one more question in there here. Let me just see if there are any others. I think we got most of them.
Kent says Posh is slow.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. Adding a third platform, I'm super excited about. I'm just starting to learn Macari. So there is no time for me to learn a fourth platform right now. And I feel that when you are spreading yourself so thin that you are not able to devote the time and attention you need to make one platform work for you. For me, eBay is always going to be my number one platform. Etsy, I feel like I've mastered Etsy over the last year or so. So it was time for me to add a third. And with having a cross-posting tool that makes it, there's no thought or effort into it, then absolutely made sense for me.
Well, and we've talked about this before. There's so many different platforms for you to sell on. Like we're just talking about the basic ones. There's, local ones. There's so many different ways that you can be selling. Really, the bottom line is you need to pick the ones that are going to work for you and how you operate, and then you need to commit to them. You can't just, I tried doing Etsy a couple of years ago, and I wasn't committed to it at all. I was like, I want to add Etsy. It's going to be cool, blah, blah, blah. And then every day I would list on eBay and I'd be like, I'll get to the Etsy listings later. And then I'd get to the end of the day and I just wouldn't do it. You have to make a commitment to those platforms. And while you might not be like going full on, I'm so committed to Macari now, because you're using List Perfectly, it's automatically being committed to because it's not that big of a deal to do a couple extra clicks and throw it up on those platforms. Yeah. Kent says, you can't be half pregnant.
You got to be all in. You got to be all in. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on another Wednesday for our Boss Up and List Live show. Next Wednesday, we will be having a member of the Boss Facebook group joining us. We are going back to doing a couple of live store reviews. And next week, our friend Todd will be joining us from the Boss Facebook. He's a Boss member, and he reached out for help with a live store review. And so if any of you have seen those before, I do believe we're getting pretty good at them. And we give you a lot of tips on how to work on your own store, because everybody can use a little advice, myself included.
Well, and we almost have it's sort of like a checklist, because we have like a list that we go through looking at the different items. So really anybody can watch the show and take those tips back and look at their own stores and kind of go through. So anyway. All right. So we'll see you on Sunday. And that's what next Wednesday's show is. And yes, we will be doing another Friday After Dark show. We have not scheduled one yet. So in the next couple weeks, we'll have one. Maybe we'll do one with Teresa next week. Oh, you're just busting that out.
While we're in.
Oh, that's true. We're going to be
while
there.
we're in Phoenix. Maybe
You're right.
Teresa will be
You're right. Let's do it. Okay, let's just decide next Friday, the 20th.
Friday after dark with
Friday
Teresa.
With Teresa, but we'll still do the questions.
Oh yeah, we'll ask her the
live.
questions.
Yes, perfect.
There you go.
All right, Teresa, you're signed up.
Ready or not?
All right, bye.
Bye.
Woo, woo, woo.